One of the most neglected things in my garden are these tomato plants. I haven't touched them, I haven't cut them, I haven't tied them up for so long. And then on Thursday last week we had this big wind come through, really strong winds, and it actually tipped that tomato plant right over. I've got to try and revive it. This tomato bush also got blown over by the wind, so I've just tied it where it's fallen. And the rest of the tomato plants I'll just trim off the diseased leaves and cover up the fruit, because it's fruit fly season now. As you can see, this little fruit fly is hooking into my tomatoes already, so really need to cover them up if I want to get any fruit for the rest of the season. So this is basically what I do when I cut back the tomato bushes. Any leaves that are showing signs of disease on them I trim off, and also any shoots that aren't growing where I want them to grow. See, this has got some disease on the leaf there, so anything like that I just cut off. So these are all my tomato plants now that they've been cleaned up. I just cut off any diseased leaves that I could find and just cut them right back. And tomorrow I'll give them a bit of a spray with baking soda to try and prevent it from spreading. These ones here are the wild ones that have just grown up here. I really like this yellow tomato, it's really sweet, quite tasty, and the fruit fly don't seem to be attacking it. So I'm just letting it grow wherever it wants, and I've put this gauze up just to help support it as it grows up and over that. But it's just absolutely loaded with tomatoes. Really happy with that one. You can see here I've started covering the tomatoes with stockings. First time I've tried it to prevent the fruit fly. We'll see how it works. You can see this tomato here, it's already been stung by fruit fly in a number of places, so it's really overdue time for me to cover them up. Okay, so these are my tomatoes that I have in the new patch that I've been growing that have the crazy tomatoes on them. They're just getting so much fruit on them. Really happy. Still got the curly leaves, but really happy with the size of the fruit and the number of tomatoes. These tomato bushes are half the size of my other ones, but I've got way more fruit on them. So I've just added a few more strings for the side branches that have come out. So hopefully we'll get a bit more fruit off them. And just cut a few leaves off the bottom, not too much. They haven't really got disease yet, except for this one here is a bit weird. It was always weird. Had some few dead leaves on that one, so you're not quite sure what's happening there. It is one crazy tomato. And just to show you the size of it in my hand there, it's just huge. And it's on this little tiny bush, I don't know, maybe 30 centimetres, 40 centimetres off the ground, with this huge tomato on it. So I thought that's pretty funny. And over here we have the wild cherry tomatoes. I just kind of wrapped a couple of ropes around just to help contain it all and support it on this main one. So I just wanted to show you exactly what I'm doing here, covering the tomatoes with stockings and how easy it is. We'll see from this season whether it's effective. It seems to be effective so far. But yeah, I'll show you how I do it, and then you can choose whether you want to give it a go yourself. So these ones are going to be a little bit trickier to cover than the big ones. But what I would recommend is wherever there's a bunch, so that one's by itself, I'll cover it by itself, but where there's kind of a few together, then cover them together as one bunch around the main stem. So I'll show you what I do. Okay, so we'll see how this works. I haven't tried hands-free with this camera before, so we'll give it a go. So I've got the stocking here. So you've got the toe end, and then you've got the other end. Now I usually cut it off and use the toe end and then the other end. So I'll just grab my scissors. Just cut it off about that much because you need space to be able to tie it once you put it on. So I'm going to do the bunch first. So I've got 3 here on one thing. Now you have to be very careful handling the tomatoes that you don't accidentally break them off. I have done a few like that. Just very gently slide the sock over top. Doesn't matter if it's loose, it's better if it's a little bit loose. Gives the tomatoes room to grow. Also makes it a bit more difficult for the fruit fly to sting. So then at the end, just tie a knot tightly around the stem so that there's no spots for any fruit fly to sneak in. And if there is a little hole, I just try and tuck the knot in such a way to block any access point. And there you have it. And so with this one here, what I do is I use the open end, well either end, they're both open, and I'll find my next fruit. Just pop it right over that branch in case any of those flowers produce fruit. Okay, so right over that, and then the same as before, tie this end nice and tight. Okay. And then at the other end, just hold it to the end of the tomato, wrap it in a knot, and pull it as tight as you can, and then cut it off. That's all for now. There's the row of tomatoes, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.